Chuckload of Comics is brought to you by Cold War Games, creators of Squarriors, Fight Your Friends, and Lady Death Last Stand. For more information, visit coldwar.us. So guys, moving on, the new show, The Boys. Based on the Garth Ennis comic book you see right there in front of Shauna there. The Boys, it comes out this week, finally.
Yes.
They've been teasing this show for the longest time. It comes out Friday, July 26th. It's from Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg.
Great.
Awesome guys. Absolutely love pretty much everything they do.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to get invited about 2 months ago to a private screening of the pilot episode of
lucky.
The Boys.
I didn't get to go.
Let me just say, you guys are in for a massive treat. This show is going to absolutely blow your mind. And I say that from a place of not really loving the comic book.
That's interesting.
Didn't adore the comic book. I liked the concept of the comic book, but I think I like the show even more.
Great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, if you've read the comic book, there's not as much emphasis on the superhero characters. And I'm going to tell you what the show's about in just a second if you're unfamiliar with it. But there's a lot more of the superheroes in the show than there is in the comic.
Yeah.
The comic's more about the Boys crew and less about the Vought Corporation and the superheroes that pretty much run the world.
Uh-huh.
And the show seems to be kind of flipping that script a little bit more.
Sweet.
So what's the show about? It's basically superheroes behaving badly. It takes place in a world where superheroes exist. They exist among us. And just like normal people, the more power you get, the more assholishness you get.
Right.
These superheroes have become so big and so cocky that they just do whatever they want. They can break laws and the government covers it up. They can kill people and the government covers it up.
Wow.
So they're kind of, you can't take them on, man.
They're
it's
like politicians.
Exactly. It's really reminiscent of what's going on in the world right now,
Right.
with Disney Corporation pretty much taking everything. All the movies are superhero movies. It's everything superhero. Everybody holds them up on this pedestal, even though they do terrible things. Well, in the show, the show kicks off with a really terrible thing that happens.
Uh-oh.
If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. We might spoil that later on in this little review, but it's the story of a group of ragtag sort of crime fighters, the Boys, who you see on that cover right there. They basically take on the man. It's the little guy taking on the man. This little group of badasses. It's very vulgar show. Lots of cursing, lots of nudity, tons of bloods and guts.
Sweet. Bloods and guts are
Bloods
great.
and guts. It's fantastic. Interesting, in the pilot episode, you don't see all the Boys characters.
Really?
You only see Butcher and Huey.
Okay.
Who, like, Butcher kind of recruits Huey after something really bad happens to Huey. I want to read you a little snippet from the showrunner Eric Kripke. He wrote, "I really wanted shocking shit to happen around every corner, but I really wanted to tell a story about a group coming together and the loyalty that they have for each other and their relationship. I use the metaphor frequently of, I like to create a very wholesome Christmas tree, and then I like to hang pornographic ornaments on it. That's a nice summation of my tone," which is a great way to kind of sum up the show.
That's funny.
Because the show starts out very light, very playful. You see the superheroes. You see the Seven, who is basically the Justice League.
Uh-huh.
And they seem like they're really cool, but then as the show progresses, you find out these people are really, really bad. They're really, really assholes. They're sexist. They're rapists. They're murderers. They're awful.
This show sounds great.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely spectacular. We're going to show you a couple of photos here. A couple of photos that just dropped. These are sort of spoilery photos.
Okay.
So if you don't want to watch these photos, don't look at the photos. One in particular is right here. This is a shot. Again, big spoiler. This is the character Huey. Huey is... Shauna, do you want to hear spoilers?
Sure.
Okay,
I
this-
mean,
it happens in the
this
first
happens-
10 minutes of the-
exactly, that's
5
what I'm
minutes of the
saying,
show.
so it just sets the tone.
Huey is hanging out with his girlfriend, and he wants to like get engaged with her. So they're standing on the street, and they're holding hands, and they're in love, and they're going to get married. And then, bam, his girlfriend just explodes. Like, right. And this is what you see in the shot of him just holding his girlfriend's arms, and the rest of her is completely disintegrated.
Oh, that's horrible.
What happened was A-Train, who is like the Flash character, was running down the street at light speed and took out Huey's girlfriend.
Oh, no.
Blew her up in this huge explosion of blood, murdered her, and then here you see A-Train just standing there covered in Huey's girlfriend's blood, and he just keeps on going. It's like, hey, sorry, pal, and just keeps on running.
No.
Not cool, right?
Horrible. Oh, that's awful.
So that's how the show starts.
Eesh.
So it's the bloodiest scene I've ever seen in a television show in my entire life.
I
It's
wouldn't say
done
that's
so well.
spoilery. I mean, that happens in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, but it was
so.
pretty shocking if
Yeah, I
you
guess
didn't know
that's
what's
true.
happening. it hits you really, really
Oh,
fast.
man.
So it's spectacular, guys. Can't say enough about it. The show comes out on Amazon this Friday, July 26th.
Oh, perfect. I know what I'm watching this weekend.
Oh, without a doubt. So have you guys read the comic? What do you think about the comic book? How excited are you about the show? Because you should be stoked. It's
Right.
absolutely spectacular. It gets an A+ in my book.
Sweet.
So, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up this week's show with a segment we don't get a chance to do that often. A little segment we call Hateful Comments from Viewers.
Yeah.
You, the viewers, every time you guys bring us down a peg and say evil, mean, disgusting, nasty things, we like to read them right here on Chuckload of Comics.
We got to share them to the world, right?
This week's Hateful Comic.